Hi, I'm Kay. I'm a wellness professional, big nerd, and I have bilateral high frequency hearing loss. I also wear hearing aids. So I am super excited to take you into my world, my hearing loss journey with House Institute on Now Listen.
Hi, Kay. Great to have you back for this week's question. What tips or advice do you have for those looking to support people with hearing loss? And what does it mean to be a good ally?
Great question. Thank you so much for that wonderful question. First and foremost, before I go into tips, I think the first thing I want to say is that as a disabled individual, I'm so used to unfortunately not being believed or heard. So I think first and foremost, just hearing disabled individuals or people with hearing loss and holding space for them without trying to interject about, oh, well, I know this person who, and this is how they do it, or without interjecting and just putting your own spin on things, or those things are not helpful. So as we give tips and advice for you, just processing it, because I think sometimes people without hearing loss, their ego comes up to defend or deflect and say, well, that's not me. I understand completely. That's not me. Those are other people. If someone in the hearing loss community in particular loves you enough and cares about you enough to say, hey, I want to share these best practices so you can support me, say thank you first and foremost, and internalize that, and then show up for that person. A couple of more concrete steps on how you can support individuals with hearing loss. Number one, people think that shouting helps people with hearing loss hear better, and that is not the case. When you shout, you run the likelihood of actually distorting the sound of your voice even more, and it makes it harder for us to hear. So instead of shouting, just take a step back, breathe, and maybe pronounce your words a little clearer, a little sharper. If that does not work, because I know for me, I have high frequency hearing loss. Sometimes a person will say a word over and over again and say like, Krystle, are you listening? I'm like, what? Are you listening? I'm like, what are you saying? Are you listening? And I'm like, no, don't shout the word listening. Maybe try a different word. Try to rephrase that word. So instead of saying, are you listening? Are you hearing me? Do you understand? Like using different words or rephrasing your statements and sentences definitely helps. I feel guilt. I feel tired because you are running a marathon, saying the word over and over again, and I'm on the receiving end just trying to understand you. So no more shouting, just breathe, pronounce your words, and if that does not work, rephrase your sentence. Another tip, number two, for hearing loss that's very helpful is make sure that you have the attention of the person with the hearing loss. So what does that look like? Making sure that you're sitting in front of them and you have eye contact with them. So I've seen a lot of people maybe turn their head away or they're doing something else and having a conversation while they're doing something else, and their body and their heads are turned away from the person with hearing loss. So if I go like this, me with a person with hearing loss is like, what's going on? All your audio from your speaking is going in the opposite direction than what it needs to be. Another tip that I want to share as point number three is not to be dismissive. This is actually a pain point of mine. because as you can imagine, someone with hearing loss, it can be difficult for us to hear the conversation fully. So sometimes conversations go really fast or important points are being made and we don't hear it fully. And what happens is that person who is talking might repeat themselves or they're having the flow of the conversation. And me as a person who's very proactive about trying to stay in the loop with the conversation may ask you, hey, can you repeat what you said? Or, hey, what are you talking about? Or, hey, I see all of you laughing. What was the joke again? And then the worst thing you can do is say, never mind, don't worry about it. We didn't say anything important. Like being very dismissive of the person with hearing loss, it really causes, at least for me, to feel isolated, not to feel part of the group conversation and things of that nature. Just making sure that you include the person with hearing loss. So you're making sure that you're inviting them into the conversation. If you are switching topics, let that person know, hey, we're talking about this now. And so I can jump in and have that conversation. If the flow of conversation is happening and one person is talking, the worst thing you can do is try to jump into the conversation and have multiple people calling or talking at the same time. So you can imagine the more voices that are having conversations at the same time, the more jumbled it becomes. And it's harder for me or any person with hearing loss to really differentiate the voices and look around and trying to figure out who said what and where's the audio coming from. Sometimes I'll be in a restaurant situation having like a brunch with friends and everybody's excited, everybody wants to talk, and my head is just like, what's going on? Like, who's talking? What's the point of conversation? So try your best to have only one person talk at a time so you can have the person with hearing loss follow the flow of conversation easier. Thank you. Know that there's life after hearing loss. I'm living a great, fabulous life right now, actually. So I really want to let people know that it's okay to feel the emotions that you're feeling. The trick is just not to get stuck in those emotions and know that you can reinvent yourself.
Hello, my name is Dr. Kevin Peng, neurologist here at the House Institute. Thank you for watching this video. The House Institute provides free educational videos for hearing health professionals worldwide. To help support videos like these and other educational efforts, please consider donating by clicking the link in the description box below. Your generous support allows us to keep videos like these at no cost for you and others. Thank you.